We're moving on to the Proverb 6 in Michy's Opening Concepts book. If you've been following this little pattern of videos, you'll know that I've already done Proverbs 7 and 8. And I recommend that you look at that video first. There's a video about Proverbs 7 and 8. I think it makes more sense to do Proverbs 6 having done Proverbs 7 and 8. So I'd recommend you, if you kind of have been working your way through the system, gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rather than doing this video, skip ahead to 7 and 8 and then come back to this, because it's a really important video, but it'll make a lot of sense if you, or more sense if you do it in that order. So this video is about Proverb 6, and Michy says that the proverb is to double hit, and he comes up with this image of tiger play. Now Michy is, I said, famous for some of his imagery surrounding the game and some great names for different tactics in the game. And this is probably the one he's most famous for. Tiger play is kind of caught on in backgammon as a sort of a name for a kind of a strong, aggressive play, double hitting. And I suppose the big thing to say is that hitting twice is very strong. If there's an older expression that was common in backgammon, two in the bar is better by far. If you can hit your opponent twice, you deprive them of an entire go, because they're spending the entire go getting out, and they mightn't even get out. They might dance a little, in which case you've got more than an entire go. So that's the idea of hitting twice. But the big thing is that there's two types of tiger play, and what you need to get out of this lesson is not that you need to hit twice, but that there are two types of tiger play. One is very straightforward, the strong tiger, but the weak tiger play is you just need to be a little bit more subtle about whether you use it or not. So first of all, the strong tiger play. It sort of takes care of itself. It's where we double hit and we leave a blot on a good point that we want to make. And that's the distinguishing factor between the strong and the weak tiger. Strong tiger leaves the blot on a good point. The weak tiger leaves the blot on a poor point. So here's an example of a strong tiger play. We're white, bearing into the bottom right as usual, and we've rolled a 5 and a 1. Now, one of our checkers is on the bar, and if we play it out with a 5, you're going to see that we're going to hit that black checker in black's own board. So that's how we do the 5. And then, looking down at the bottom, we want to fight for a good point. Black has another blot on our 5 point, and we can fight for that by playing the 1 down. As I said in the Proverbs 7 and 8 video, Michy says that if you roll a 1 and your opponent has a blot on our 5 point, it's pretty much certain to be right to hit that blot. So that's what we're doing here. And that's the double hit. So certainly our opponent has 2 in the bar, but the reason it's a strong tiger is because we really want in our home board, that blot we've just put on our 5 point is really valuable to us. And if black doesn't roll a 5 in the next go, we have a really good chance of making our 5 point. So that's why it's so valuable. And it's it's massive blunder not to do that move. The weak tiger, on the other hand, is where we double hit, but this time we leave the blot on a weak point, one that we don't really want to make. And here's the example that we've already covered a couple of times in going through this book. What we do when we roll a 4-1 in the opening and our opponent has split their back checkers. And we kind of don't really have a choice. There's nothing really else good to do, so we come down with the 4 and then move on with the 1. We've double hit, so it's tiger play, according to Michy. But the where we've left our blot isn't, even if we were to make that point, it's of no use in terms of hitting checkers back and forth the rest of the game. It's out of the game. So that's why he calls it a weak tiger. And the thing about the weak tiger is we may not opt to use it. We might, so at times we look at the possibility you could do the weak tiger play, but you might have to reconsider it. Strong tiger you're always going to do. So in this situation, there's nothing else better to do. But I don't know if you recall from previous videos, we've said before that if the split is like that and we roll a 4 and a 1, we can still hit with the 1 and then the 4, the weak tiger, but there's a better option here. We can hit with the 1 and then maybe bring some more ammunition down to try and help make that 1. We want that 5 points. We don't want the 1 point. So we don't do the weak tiger play. We don't double hit. We just hit once and try and make that point instead. And this is why the Proverbs 7 and 8 are so important, why I wanted to do them first in this course. Proverbs 7 says attacking with 8 checkers is weak, and Proverb 8 says that attacking with 10 checkers is strong. If we're attacking and if we want to do the double hitting, we're far better off having 10 checkers. And this is the kind of a rule of thumb I've come up with from watching this video. And you've heard me mention before the Sunny Florida Backgammon Club do classes and they're going through chapter by chapter, just like we are, the opening concepts book. And they've some great examples in that and great discussions on their video about this. But basically, the big rule of thumb you need to have is if you're going to play a weak tiger play, you need to have at least 10 checkers in the zone. And as I was kind of thinking about this, making this video, thinking it's important to stress strong tiger, weak tiger is nothing to do with 8 checkers or 10 checkers in the zone. If you have a strong attack and a weak attack, or you have a strong tiger or a weak tiger, they're different things. But if you're going to do a weak tiger, which is sort of a kind of a not a particularly satisfactory attack, you must have at least 10 checkers in the zone to make it worthwhile. And let's give this is the example we've been using, and we've said we don't want to hit with the kind of the weak tiger to hit both the black's checkers there because it's just pointless. But if we had a different situation, and now if you look down the bottom, we have 10 checkers in the zone rather than 8 checkers in the zone. Now the correct play is to double hit, because we've got the extra ammunition that we can make that point. And look at it there, significant blunder not to double hit in that situation. And here's another position that we looked at in the video about fighting for a good point, how to play a 3 and a 2. Well, we want to make that 4 points. So it's a good point, so we come down with the 2. We could move on and do a weak tiger play, but look how many checkers we have in the zone. We only have 8 checkers in the zone, and we don't want that. We want to make that 4 point and then bring another checker down, try and support it. And you could even say that we could hit that and move a checker up from the back is better than a weak tiger play. But there's where we have 8 checkers in the zone. Let's change it again. Let's take 2 checkers from our midpoint and bring them down. And now we've got 10 attacking checkers rather than just 8. And suddenly it all changes. The right move now is to double hit and move forward. And if our checkers were further advanced at the back, like I've just moved them, now it's kind of a huge significant error not to double hit. So that's really it. The message here is a strong tiger play is going to play itself automatically. You'll do it obviously, and it's no problem. But if you're going to do the weak tiger, and just remind the weak tiger is where you double hit, but you leave a blot in a position you don't really care about. If you're going to do the weak tiger, you must have 10 checkers in the zone. So this week, or this video, instead of doing one test yourself question, I've got 3 for you. So let's start with the first one. And I have to warn you that there's only one right move here. Anything else is a significant blunder. So the question is, how would you play the 4 and the 1? If you'd like to pause and then unpause, well, looking at the top right quadrant, where we've got the 2 checkers that are trying to escape, and we've got the 4 there, we can use the 4 to hit black's checker there. And now look down back into our own home board. Black has slotted a checker onto our 5 point. We want that 5 point, so we're going to fight for it. So we'll play the 1 off the 6 point down of the 5. We've done the strong tiger play because we've left the blot in a place we really want it to be. That's why it's the strong tiger. And I said anything else would be quite a very large blunder. How about this one? How would you play a 5 and a 2? And you can pause, and assuming you've unpaused, well, we can hit with the 2. You can come down and hit, and we can hit with the 5. If you look at the other black blot, we can play that forward with the 5. Now that's a weak tiger play. We've double hit, we've left the blot on the 1 point where we don't particularly want to make a point. Is it the right thing to do? Well, look at it. If you can't, we have 11 checkers in the zone. So we have lots of ammunition. So yes, we want to, with all that ammunition we have, we want black to be wasting time in the bar, because the more they're wasting time in the bar, I mean, they could roll a 6 the next go, and if they do, they're not even coming out altogether. The more they waste time in the bar, the more time we have to build up to close them out, to build up kind of a blitzing structure or even a priming structure, and keep them confined. We don't let them have any sort of momentum of it setting up their own structures. We're just constantly hitting them, and that's why the weak play is worth it. The weak tiger play is worth it, because it's buying us time to get all those other checkers in and really to start blocking black in. Interesting though, with that one, there is one of the moves that's not bad there. I don't know if you've that thing about fighting for a good point we did a few videos ago. You could say you could play from the 9 point in to the 4 point and down and not hit anything, and that's not actually a bad move. It's not the right move, but it's not a huge error. Well, it's a 23 millipoint error. Some people might prefer to do that and have a bit more of a priming structure, but the right move is the double hit, the tiger play, because we have 11 checkers in the zone. So the final question for you is this: is how do we play a 5 and a 3? And again, you might pause, and I'm assuming now, while I've been talking, you've paused and unpaused. Well, we can hit with the 3, and the question is, do we play on with the 5? What do you think? And think about it. What type of tiger play is that? That's a weak tiger play, because we've got our blocks too far advanced to be much use for us. Should we do it? Well, count the checkers in the zone. We started with 8 checkers in the zone. We did hitting with the 3 brought a 9th checker in the zone. It's still less than 10. We must have at least 10 checkers in the zone. So that's not the right move. If you look down, it's the third best option there. A 77 millipoint error. That's near 80 millipoints becomes a blunder. So we're a really significant error to do that. Instead, what we do, yes, we hit, of course, with the coming down with the 3. With the 5, we just bring another checker down from the midpoint, and it's more ammunition in the zone, which is what we want. So that's it. As I've repeated several times, just to emphasize, the rule of thumb here is a tiger play means you hit twice. That's simple as. But if you're going to try a weak tiger, where you leave a blot in a sort of a pointless position, very far advanced in our home board, you must have at least 10 checkers in the zone. Otherwise, just don't do it. And that's it for tiger play, or nearly, because the very last chapter of the book, now we've quite a few proverbs to go through before we get near to it, but the very final, Michy also has a concept called the double tiger. The double tiger is an entirely different play. Again, it involves hitting, but in a different way. We won't worry about the double tiger play for now, but I thought I'd mention it so that you get the idea of between a weak tiger, a strong tiger, and a double tiger. Attacking with 8 is weak, attacking with 10 is strong. Those little concepts sort of overlap a little bit, so I just thought I'd mention them. But we move on. There are 4 proverbs coming up about splitting at the back to come shortly. That's it for this video now.